Hi, everybody. I'm Glenn Kennedy. Welcome back to Barn Talk. This is my partner, Charles Mott. How you doing this morning, Charles?
Real good, Glenn. Glad to be here and with the audience. And it's getting fall, isn't it? About pumpkin time.
It is about pumpkin time.
Yeah,
Today's a beautiful day today,
isn't
isn't
it
it?
though? Yeah, we don't want to tell anybody about these nice days. They'll all be here.
That's
So,
true. Well,
yeah,
they already are.
they already are. Yeah. So, anyway, what would you like to talk about today, Glenn?
Okay. I had a few people tell me that we're kind of stuck in the 40s, so we
Mhm.
need to kind of move it along.
Okay.
So I was going to jump up about 20 years, and I've had a lot of requests about the the
Oh,
Carousel Theater. Remember that?
I sure do. It was beautiful, and I went to it a couple of
Did you?
times. Yes, and it was just a wonderful thing, and it was sold out every time. Now, did you go anytime, Glenn, to it, or?
I went one time,
Hmm.
and it was a horrible experience for me. I was about 5 or 6, and my mom made me put on my Sunday clothes with my little jacket, my dress shoes, and my tie, and we went to go see the Nutcracker.
Oh, okay.
It
We've
was
all
like
done
being
that.
tortured. Um, the only thing that I remember is that I got to get a soda.
Oh, okay. So
Okay.
that was worth it then. Yeah, yeah. We've all done that when we were that age. So she
Yeah.
was doing the right thing, I guess. So, yeah. Uh, do you know why it was brought here and a little bit of history behind it?
Yeah. The reason why it was brought here, because West Covina was had been the number one growing city there for a while, and we had a big population, and the city was extremely business friendly.
Oh, very
I,
much
I
so.
I mean, we were recruiting business. We were trying to come out here
Hmm.
because they could have gone to a lot of places,
Sure,
but
sure.
they decided to come out here. And uh, the history I do know is that Joe Eichenbaum owned that property. And before that, the Cushmans owned it.
Oh, they did.
The Cushmans owned
Yeah.
it, and that was
Okay.
one of their properties. Their mainstay was on Lark Ellen and Plenty, and their son is the one. He was killed in World War II. He's a United States Marine
Yes, I
who
remember.
who was killed in Palais
Play.
in 1944. Yes, and we're going to honor him here um, in a few months.
Oh, that's great
Yeah,
because there's a great family too.
yeah, and the Eichenbaums bought it from them,
Hmm.
and they decided to build the carousel. I know the city council approved it in 1963, and construction took place in '64, and they opened in
Hmm.
1965. And the first entertainer they had was Liberace.
Liberace, yes,
Yes.
I remember. He was a good piano player.
Yeah.
And
And the first play they had there was My Fair Lady by with Jane Powell.
oh yes, I remember that played a long time, didn't it?
Yeah, it was a Broadway play for a
Yeah,
long time.
time.
They had a few. They had guys and dolls and guys. The Unsinkable Molly Brown. They had quite a few.
Yes, and I understood people came a long ways and stay in a hotel to go to some of these shows.
I've heard
Yes,
the same thing.
yes, and it was really a plus to our community when that came. I think
Yeah.
it put us kind of on the map for.
Well, yeah. And then they had the concerts, and their general manager was a guy named Gene Mann, part of the
Hmm.
Mann uh, uh, family that do the theaters,
Oh yes,
and he was heavily connected in Hollywood
hmm,
and talent agent, and he brought out the upcoming bands, and a lot of them became huge bands, legendary bands.
yes.
I know they had both rock and roll and R&B. They had like the Doors and the Byrds and the Mama and Papas, and they had the Four Tops and Diana Ross and the Supremes and Gladys Knight and the Pips. So they were very mixed, and at that time, uh, West Covina had a few things going on. They also had the Teen Center
Oh, I
at
remember
Cameron
that.
Park,
Yes.
which did like the Battle of the Bands,
Hmm.
and or the local bands played against each other. And Casey Kasem used to run that.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
And
And
before he was famous and doing the American Top 40, I don't know if he was part of the Carousel, but the Carousel had brought in people like that out this way.
sure.
And I know that Strawberry Alarm Clock played there, and they had that number one hit, Peppermint and Innocence somewhere in the, I don't know, 66, 67, somewhere in that era. And it was pretty neat.
Pretty neat.
I personally never went because I was too young.
Yeah. Well, didn't they brought Lawrence Welk out? That was quite a plus for West Covina.
Yes, they did.
Yeah,
In fact, I'm glad you mentioned that because I think Lawrence Welk was probably their biggest hit they had there.
I think so. And he brought the bubble machine, didn't he?
Yes.
Yes, I remember the bubble machine. Did you know they had to turn that off because it discolored the instruments?
No, I didn't.
But that's too bad because I like the bubble machine.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, they had to do that. But I think that was quite a plus for him to come out here from
Yeah.
Hollywood.
Believe it or not, Lawrence Welk had a huge, huge following. It was my grandmother. That was her favorite show. I don't know what day he came on. Maybe it was Saturday or Sunday, whatever day he came on. Uh, we had to sit there and watch it because we only had one TV.
Yeah.
And Grandma got to see her show just how it was.
Yeah, no, we'd go to Arizona and fish at a little town called Bullhead City,
Yeah.
and they had a rec hall. But on Saturday nights, I forget what time, we couldn't make any noise because they all came in to watch Lawrence Welk. It was quite a thing, and we used to be in Hollywood at night. If you were there on a Saturday night and you drive by about 10:30, they were letting out. Everybody yelled to the crowd, "Turn off the bubble machine!" And that was on Sunset Boulevard. I remember that. But he transferred to the PVS, the public stations. Remember, they took him off,
Yeah.
and they picked him up. Their audience boomed. They became very popular.
Yeah.
And they should have never taken him off.
I don't know. He was top rating. I mean, it's not my kind of music, but that's how it was for that generation. And his ratings were through the roof. It made no sense to take him off.
No, made no sense, and
Yeah.
their ratings went, or the station almost. I think it was. Do you remember what station? It was like two or four. I don't.
I was. Well, there was only so many. There was
We
only
only had three.
Yeah. we had what, 2, 4, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, and then channel 52.
Yeah, 52. That.
And then you had the Spanish. I think channel 28, which was
Yeah.
the Spanish channel.
Yeah, I think so. That was about it. And then you hope you got it in clear.
Yeah, and then with you remember the rabbit ears?
Yeah.
So I used to have to sit there. You had to add tinfoil to them, and then stay there. No, move over there. No, move over here.
Yeah.
Remember those days?
I remember them clearly. I'll tell you, very clearly. And yeah, it was fun. It was. You didn't have all the stations you have today.
No, it was a different time.
Yeah, I think most people know I sold Christmas trees, and one of the Lennon sisters would come in, and she was a very faithful customer.
Yeah.
And she was very pleasant, and the kids she talked to the kids a lot about Lawrence Welk and the program and her other sisters, and I kind of remember that because how pleasant she was over in Pasadena at that time. But those were good old days.
Those were the good old days.
Yeah. So, what else would you like to?
Well, what about your time in Hollywood?
Oh, okay. We used to, when I went to school in Los Angeles, and we'd go to what is called the Hollywood Palace, and what we had to do was fill the audience while they filmed. And then we'd come out to the Huddle. You remember the Huddle in West Covina?
Yes, I do.
And I always liked the Huddle afterwards. And did you ever go there, Glenn?
Yes, went a couple times. We would, because my mom didn't believe in going out. She had a minimum income, and we just didn't go out. Just how it was.
Yeah.
And I only got to go after church. If I got invited, and they always went somewhere, usually to Bob's the Big Boy, but they used to go to the Huddle.
Yeah.
Before it closed, yeah. And I remember eating at the Huddle a few times.
They had hot fudge sundaes. Did you have a hot fudge sundae?
Yes, I did.
That was their
Their hamburgers were absolutely delicious.
Oh, they were absolutely delicious.
Yeah.
They were just the whole place. Now, back to the Hollywood Palace. After the Hollywood Palace, we'd come out to the Huddle, of course. And it was getting late by then because they'd film a half-hour movie, or half-hour program, but it took 2 to 3 hours. and some of the entertainers would come out there.
I've heard that even from the carousel. I heard they like to go eat at the huddle. So
Yes,
I guess it made sense because that was like the closest place to go.
sure.
Did they have entertainment there, Charles?
I think they did. I remember we used to sit in those beautiful round. They were almost fully round, and they were all leather. That's where you had your food delivered. And over here in the far corner, the eastern corner, that's where the guys would sing and entertain.
Okay, so they
Some
did have
of
some type of
yeah,
entertainment because most restaurants uh, back then had their dining here, and then they had their bar and their little. When it got to be a certain time, they did their Friday and Saturday night entertaining.
yeah. We never got to the bar. We were too young, and
Yeah.
now we're. They still, I enjoy when they ask for my ID even today. So, but yeah, I think they had it over in here, and we used to listen to them. They were starting out. That was part of the Hollywood Palace was entertainers that were just starting out, and they had good entertainment in there. Uh, and then they'd come out there and probably try to get, do some entertaining. I know they were out there during the week off and on.
Okay.
But the man who ran it was a very nice man, and he enjoyed us, enjoyed students that come in, and it was just a nice place to go to. It closed too, didn't it?
Yeah. Did they have more than one huddle?
That's what I don't know. I never heard of another
I
one.
never
Did
heard
you?
of another one either.
No.
I know it was a good restaurant. I don't know why they closed. I think um, like many small businesses, when dad runs it or mom runs it, and only one person runs it and doesn't teach anybody else how to
Yeah,
run it, it's hard to run a business.
that's
They
right.
just can't keep up.
That's right.
I mean, running a small business is hard. So I think when somebody passes away, and you don't got a plan B, and you expect your family to take over, and they can't do it like you, they lose money.
Yeah,
And
that's
then
right.
you can only lose money for so long, and you're out of business.
That's right. That's right.
And that's what happened to the huddle. I mean, to the carousel.
Mhm.
They did well for years, but what happened? I think the plays kind of ran their course, as the bands and the people they were bringing in, they became world famous. They were
Yeah,
they were legendary bands, and now they charge too much,
yeah,
and the carousel couldn't afford it.
yeah. That's right. So,
And so what I do know is that their last concert was in 1969, and then they shut the doors,
mhm,
and then they did a public auction where they liquidated all the assets. They sold all the seats
mhm.
and whatever they could manage to sell. And then they leveled the building, and they put up a restaurant row.
Restaurant row. Yeah,
Yeah.
I see a bigger income.
So they had a plan B.
Time B. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it is a good. It must be a nice family and everything
Yeah,
because they did well.
the Eichenbaum family owns it. I doubted Joe Eichenbaum's still alive.
Mhm.
But I don't know. But as far as I know, the family still owns all that property.
You wonder how he picked West Covina to do all that, don't you, at times? Because
Well,
we
like I
say,
said earlier,
yeah.
West Covina was very business friendly,
Mm-hmm.
and it had a big population. Remember, we went from nobody to 100,000 people within 10 years.
10 years. Yeah, we were the fastest
So
growing.
we're up against the hill
Yeah.
before we get to Pomona,
Yeah,
and so yeah,
yeah. So
made sense.
made sense, and we
Made
were
sense.
young people, and
And
things
remember,
were-
West Covina is basically halfway between LA and San Bernardino.
That's right. And what a lovely area,
It was. West
Yeah.
Covina is a great area.
Yeah. When you drove into Los Angeles, in the morning you didn't have to drive against the sun or anything,
Yeah.
and that made a big difference for our growth. Did you know that?
Yes, I did.
Yeah, that was amazing, wasn't it? That
It sure
people
was.
thought of that because San Fernando Valley had a problem there, so you were into the sun both directions.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No
so-
win situation.
you can't win. No, Mother Nature didn't help them out.
Yeah.
So, well, that's interesting.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's it. What I do know about the Carousel Theater now, I know there's viewers out there that went there or worked there, and if you have any information, we'd love to hear it. Remember, we document all this and keep it. So if there's anybody out there, please post something.
Yes, that'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Because we'd like to do that. That's very much so. So,
So, is there anything else,
Well,
Charles?
I'm going to go out and pick my pumpkin out pretty quick. You want to come with me? So anyway,
No,
no,
I'm gonna.
that's
I'm gonna.
fine.
I know there's some tomatoes out there. I'm gonna
Oh,
pick some tomatoes.
okay. So thank you, Glenn. I'll go with you too.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Charles, it was nice seeing you. I want to thank everybody for viewing, and you have a beautiful day. Thank you very much.
Thank you.